Hey, how's it going, guys? MrBossFTW here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about 20 new secret features, hidden details, and things you just don't know about the brand new Grand Theft Auto Online Import and Export DLC. So you guys showed a ton of support on my video the other day where I also talked about 20 things you might not have known about the Import and Export DLC. And as always, my goal with these videos is hopefully to teach you just one or two things you don't know, but I think you're going to find definitely more than that in this video. So if you do go on and enjoy, drop a like, but let's not waste any more time and let's get it started. All right, at the number one spot, this is kind of a bummer, but the special vehicles can only be used in free mode. So like the Ruiner 2000, the Coil Rocket Voltic, obviously we know we can't use those in races, but we also can't use them in contact missions. We can't use them in heist, which is kind of disappointing because I would have loved to kind of gone back and do some of the missions and see how cool you could have done them with the special vehicles. But I guess Rockstar didn't want us to break the system that easily, or maybe didn't want us to have an unfair advantage. So unfortunately, the new special vehicles are only locked to free mode, which again is slightly disappointing, especially given their price tag and especially given how expensive they are. So again, a little bit sad right there, but they can only be used in free mode. Number two, it looks like the iFruit app is now working. So if you've never used the iFruit app, you can use this to change your license plate. You can sometimes use it to get colored versions of stock rims. For the longest time after the Bikers update, this app was not working, and it hasn't been working for me until recently. So this is great. Now I can put my Boss for the Win plate on other cars, etc. So that's great that that is finally now working. Up next, a lot of people have been asking me, why are some cars covered in the vehicle warehouse? And I don't think Rockstar has come out and given an official answer, but what I've noticed is that some vehicles are covered over time. So when vehicles are first put in the warehouse, they're uncovered, and then as time goes on, vehicles slowly start to become covered. Although I'm not sure if that's a consistent pattern or if there's a maximum number of cars that can be put underneath the tarp. One thing I've heard is that Rockstar can't load in all of the vehicles, so that they put some of them under tarps to kind of keep them a little bit more organized and to keep the game stability better. I'm not entirely too sure, but I don't think because of vehicles under a tarp it means anything. I had top-end vehicles that were exposed, mid-range ones that were underneath the tarp, so I'm really not too sure what's going on here, but just know that your vehicles over time will be covered. I don't think it means anything or indicates that the vehicle is all that special. Moving on, one really cool feature about the Ruiner 2000 is that you can use some of its abilities still in passive mode. So some vehicles require you, even if they don't have armed features, to go out of passive mode. And even though the Ruiner 2000 has machine guns and missiles, you can still use its jumping ability and its parachuting ability in passive mode. So I thought that was nice because some people still enjoy the passive and non-aggressive features of this vehicle. Like for example, you can go all the way from Mount Chiliad to LSIA Airport in one jump, which is actually pretty insane. Believe it or not, I've seen someone do it, which is pretty nuts. So like I said, the Ruiner 2000 is pretty amazing, and it's also really great that it doesn't require you to be out of passive mode, and that in passive mode, you can still use some of its cool tricks and gadgets. Speaking of vehicles with tricks and gadgets, you guys know that you can use the new Rocket Voltic as a weapon. That's right, that giant rocket thruster on the back can actually inflict a lot of damage. Now you do kind of have to be careful with this because obviously it's going to send you flying wherever you go. But if you back up into someone or something or a set of people or cops and you activate that rocket thruster, it is going to send them flying, and in many cases will actually kill them. So this could be a great way to go around trolling people if you wanted to, or if you want to just mess around with your friends, have some fun, set up some pretty cool scenarios. You totally can do this as well, and the Rocket Voltic definitely has a big punch when you fire off that thruster. So definitely try it out on some NPCs or some cops or something like that. Now, speaking of cops, that's also a great thing to talk about, and that is the fact that the special vehicles cannot be impounded. That's right, so the special vehicles don't go to the police impound lot, but instead they're just returned to your underground garage. So you never have to fear about having to pay for these vehicles because they're instantly going to be returned to the underground vehicle warehouse when they're either destroyed or impounded. So that's another great feature of them. I guess one of the great reasons why they are so expensive, but they cannot be taken by the cops, which is nice. Another great segue here, if your vehicle is destroyed and you need to get it out of the Mors Mutual has actually gotten an upgrade, and now it's broken down by garages instead of just various different vehicles. So you can see here, I have vehicles impounded in 3 different garages, so this is what it looks like for me. Now, the only downside to this is you can't select all of them at once, so that is kind of a feature that I think is unfortunate. But in terms of breaking it down in organization, this is a little bit better, and now apparently you can also claim BMX bikes as well. That's something that I've seen a lot lot of people talking about. So that is actually super cool that you could also claim BMX bikes now, making it a little bit easier to return them to storage. Up next, two things about the Ruiner 2000. Number one is that its missiles are actually better than those of other vehicles like the Hydra and the Laser. So this is a little bit hard to prove, but according to FunMW2 and the in-game files, the missiles are actually more effective at hitting targets than other vehicles. So again, that might justify its price tag a little bit more in that it has better missile capacity, but also according to FunMW2, because it has better missiles, it has worse range. So the range on the Ruiner 2000 is worse than something like the Hydra or the Laser, but its missiles are often better at hitting its targets. So that's kind of the takeoff you get there. A little bit more powerful missiles, but they don't exactly have the range, meaning you're going to have to be a little bit closer to your target in order to get that lock-on ability. Now, kind of a bonus feature to the Ruiner 2000 is that you can actually see how many missiles you have left. So if you look right below the headlights, you can see these like red missile heads in their slots. And if you fire them off, you'll notice that as you fire them, since you only have 8, like we talked about yesterday, they will actually disappear, and when you're out, and you'll see no more red missile heads there. So that's kind of a great way to, number one, how you can tell if you have any missiles left, or number two, how many you do have left if you are in the middle of a firefight. So I thought that feature was super neat, and I'm glad Rockstar included that on this car. Moving on, up next, we got to talk about some of the special vehicles and the ones that cannot be brought into the Los Santos custom shop. So like the armored Boxville, the Phantom Wedge, these vehicles have a huge glaring issue, and that they don't have bulletproof tires. So that's another big thing I dislike about the Boxville in particular. Yesterday on one of my live streams, we were trying to invade Fort Zancudo with a Boxville, and we got about halfway there and our tires got shot. And obviously, if you don't have bulletproof tires and in a vehicle like that, you're kind of screwed. So it's really unfortunate that these vehicles don't have better armor ability. They blow up so easily. And in this case, they don't even have bulletproof tires, which really does make them kind of worthless. Although we have seen in the past Rockstar in future updates fix stuff like that. So hopefully we do see that in another update where they add bulletproof tires to these rare special vehicles. Speaking of the rare special vehicles, one weird issue with the Technical Aqua is that the first person mode doesn't work in the water. So obviously that's kind of weird because this vehicle is half the time meant to go on the water, and when driving normally on land, it has no problem going in first-person mode. However, the second you go on the water, it's going to take you out of the mode, and no matter how hard you try, you cannot get in. So again, I'm really not too sure what's going on here, but first-person mode is disabled. Maybe it has something to do with like the glitchiness of the water in the truck. No clue, but you can't use first-person mode in the Technical Aqua on water. A lot of people have also been asking, what is the Ruiner 3? So we found the Ruiner 3 in the game files, but no one seems to know what it is. Is it another version of the Ruiner 2000? No, it's actually a destroyed, broken down version of the Ruiner that's used in one of the rare special missions for the Wastelander. So that mission requires you to go to Sandy Shores Airport, and you actually go inside of the hangar and you steal a Wastelander with a broken down Ruiner 2000 on the back. And that's the one you steal, and that's why it's called Ruiner 3 in the in-game files. I know that's kind of confusing, but it's not drivable, and essentially it's only a prop used for the rare special mission. So you can't access it, and it's just stuck on the back of that flatbed. Also, according to Yan2295, it looks as if now when someone is caught as a cheater in-game, the game will tell everyone in the lobby about it. It'll say like, you know, such and such has been removed from the game because they were cheating. So it looks as if Rockstar is now seriously ousting cheaters and kind of shaming them to the rest of the lobby. I have never seen a notification like this, so I'm assuming this is either very new or very rare. So this will be very interesting to see, but now if you notice that appear in the bottom left-hand corner, now you know why. It's because someone is getting banned, and Rockstar now going out of their way to broadcast that to the entire world. So I think that is pretty funny. That's obviously a new feature of this update. Another thing that's kind of interesting is that Malk from the Bikers update is now a new contact. So for the longest time, he never appeared in the in-game phone. He would just call you. I think he only like called you once. So it was kind of interesting, and he never really appeared in the phone again, but now he is a permanent contact. So you can't really call him. He'll just get a busy signal, but he's kind of a cool reference though from the Uptown Riders from GTA 4. So I thought that was a nice reference, and now he's permanently in your contact book. Speaking of references from Grand Theft Auto 4, there's also an Easter egg and a reference to a character from The Ballad of Gay Tony. So you guys know how the vehicle car collections work, where if you collect 2 to 3 to 4 vehicles out of a certain collection, you can sell them for a higher price. Well, each one of them has buyers. So some of them are from Grand Theft Auto 5, like you can see Jay Norris, who is the Life Invader CEO. You've got Molly Schultz, who is Devin Weston's assistant. So a lot of characters from GTA 5, but there's also one from Grand Theft Auto 4, and her name is Chloe Parker. She's from The Ballad of Gay Tony, and she is a celebrity that you run into in-game, and now apparently she is a collector of high-end vehicles, and you can see hers is pretty interesting here. She's got like a pink ETR1 that's pretty, another car that has like topless, so very, very interesting stuff here, and I think that's a really cool nod, once again, to Grand Theft Auto 4 and The Ballad of Gay Tony right there, and that nice little Easter egg. Up next, Rockstar are severely trolling us once again. There is a new VIP mission that's called Transporter that actually uses the new Wastelander truck, and there's two things here that they troll us with. Number one is the fact that they're using the Wastelander truck how it's intended to be, with a vehicle strapped to the back and it won't fall off. Honestly, this DLC is all about exporting cars, yet the methods of exporting them are so caveman-like, where we just have to drive on the road like normal. We're lucky we can cargo bob vehicles, but the Wastelander here is using this vehicle correctly, and if you notice something, that is the Duke of Death. That's right, a vehicle we've wanted in the game for so long now. Rockstar teasing us and trolling us with the Duke of Death being put on the back there. I have also heard reports that the Go-Go Monkey Ballista, another vehicle, appears on the back, as well as the Space Docker, which again is another vehicle we would love to have in online. So Rockstar are severely trolling us here. Again, I'm not really too sure what's their deal with not wanting to put these vehicles in online, because they do for missions. We just can't have them in free mode, which again is slightly disappointing. I know we've been kind of bashing the Phantom Wedge and the special vehicles, but one really cool feature of the Phantom Wedge is that players can actually sit on the back, which is really cool. And in one position in particular, the one that sits kind of in the middle on the back, you can essentially use every single weapon. You can use heavy MGs, grenades, grenade launchers, RPGs. So this is actually pretty cool. Although you're very much exposed here, this is a great way how you can run around causing massive damage, and it's kind of one of the unsung features of the Phantom Wedge. I mean, granted, you can only plow through 30 vehicles before your run is going to be over, but at least you can do it pretty cool, and you can get some pretty awesome kills on the back with an RPG, sticky bombs, grenades, etc. Up next, when you're sourcing for cars and you find one that you don't like, there's actually an easy way in which you can instantly get another one. So you can see I just sourced a vehicle right here, and it's not a very good one. It's a standard range vehicle, and I know it's not part of one of my collections, so I really didn't want to end up going about doing this. So what you can do is you can actually find a new session, and this will have no negative impacts on your character or the mission itself. Essentially, all it's going to do is reset. You're not going to have a timer, and you can instantly go back to the computer and you can find another car. And what's great about this is you can do this until you find cars you want. Like you can see this one right here, I found a top range Osiris with the Pharaoh tag, and I'm pretty sure that's part of one of the collections I'm doing. So I went from a standard range vehicle that I'm never going to use to a vehicle that's probably going to complete one of my collections and is a top end one that at a minimum is going to sell for way more money. So that's a great way you can do that, and you can get the vehicles you want and not the kind of random ones that Rockstar kind of tosses at you. And speaking of collecting those vehicles, it looks as if we've discovered what the maximum damage is for those cars. You know that your objective is to not damage them at all, but it looks like the max damage is $34,000. That was discovered by this individual right here that was trying to deliver the Z-Type. Unfortunately, the Z-Type is not one of the quickest vehicles, so when you get caught up with those NPCs that kill you, and you can see his amount here was $34,000, and apparently other posts have claimed that it is also $34,000 as well. And last but not least, because this is the update directly after Bikers, there's a lot of things regarding the biker content that was fixed. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out for yourself, but probably one of the biggest ones was the Chimera. They did two things to the Chimera. Number one, they fixed like the disc brake that kept spinning kind of awkwardly on the outside, and they also have allowed us to add bullet proof tires, which was one of the biggest complaints about the Chimera. I still don't recommend buying this car or really using it, or this trike or whatever, but they've done a lot of biker fixes. You should definitely check them out. This, of course, is just one of them. But anyways, that's all the information that I'm going to be talking about for you guys in this video today. 20 things, new features, secret details you might not have known about the Grand Theft Auto Online Import or Export DLC. As I mentioned earlier, if you learned 1 or 2 new things from this video, hopefully you learned more. Be sure to drop a like rating. That would be awesome. As well as subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. I should have 2 live streams coming out today, so please do stick around for that on my channel. It should be a lot of fun. But of course, without the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.